Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another Woodbrew video. And this week's video on the Ford F150 Restoration Project, we're actually going to be sort of wrapping the mechanical side of things up, getting the bed back in place, and we're going to kind of put a temporary bow on this project until we complete some other things that we got going in the background, and then we'll get back on this project later, maybe in a month or so, doing all the cosmetic stuff and everything. So this is kind of the last one for a little bit. But comment section for the win again this week, because in the last video we talked about having this weird thing happening with the fuel where it was going from the front tank to the back tank and vice versa. Well, thank you very much for everyone pointing out that that meant we had a bad or faulty check valve. After doing some research, that check valve is actually in the actual fuel pump sending unit, so it meant the actual unit was bad. Well, took most of the week, but we have a brand new unit here. This is actually a higher quality unit. I just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna do a little upgrading while we're at it, and we're going to swap out the bad unit today before we get started putting everything back together. But thank you very much for giving us those tips. That helped out a lot, because I would have not known that that's what was going on. Well, let's get started. I'm going to do my best to explain what was happening and more about how the fuel system works, just in case any of y'all have an issue or you're curious. So there are two fuel tanks on this truck, and there are two separate fuel pumps, and there's a switch inside the cab that you can switch between the two tanks. Now that switch in this year model just switches between which fuel pump runs. It doesn't actually change any form of valve opening or anything like that, as according to where the fuel comes from. All it's doing is changing which pump is pumping. So when the fuel pumps, you can see that these are our fuel lines. The blue goes to the engine and the gray is a return. The reason there's a return is because your engine may not be using all of the fuel that it's being supplied, or there could be like a pressure relief, or there's a number of different things that's the reason why fuel comes back. But they all run in the same tube. Both tanks do. So what was happening is we were pumping off of this rear tank, right, and pumping gas through here. Now this blue hose goes into this tank. That's where fuel comes out of and goes to the engine on this pump. But there's supposed to be a check valve, and a check valve basically only allows fluid to come through one direction and not backwards the other way. So what was happening is it was getting pumped this way and into this tank, because there was no check valve stopping it from going into this tank when it was running off of the rear pump. So hopefully this new fuel pump solves that issue, and we don't have any trouble with that anymore. But apparently it's a bigger deal than it sounds, because it can start overflowing this tank, which I didn't think about. So there's a vent tube here, which is what vents out any sort of pressure buildup in your tank. Obviously that's very important, so that you don't have a bomb sitting on your truck. That helps alleviate any sort of pressure buildup. And in the worst case scenario, say a fire or something, this whole plug can just pop out, and there's a large hole for energy to expel through. So you never want to have a closed system on something like that. Regardless, if it fills the tank up too much, it'll just start pouring out of the overflow in the vent tube. Huh. So it's a good thing that we found this early, and again, thank you very much to everyone who brought that to our attention. I was completely unaware that was what was going on. Just totally was not in the world of where my brain was at. So thank you. And let's start her up, see if she runs on the new fuel.
Even like when you took that off, we haven't put gas in that one at all, and that one's completely full.
Yeah, like full.
You have keys?
No. Okay. Also, someone also mentioned that we could also... Someone also mentioned that the reason why it was taking a little longer to start could also be because of the same issue where the fuel flow was not consistent because it was dumping part of the fluid into the other tank and it wasn't all getting all the gas to the front of the engine. So let's see what happens. Yeah. I had to prime, that's why it took a little longer.
Yeah. Like it's still taking a little longer. Sounds good.
It just runs so much better. It's crazy how much better it runs. Like, I am blown away.
Like like the engine's quieter.
Yeah, it's not revving.
Yeah.
You're not getting higher RPMs at idle.
Yeah.
It just settled down even further there. It's consistent. It's not hiccuping.
I can't wait to drive it on the road.
Yeah. This is even with AC's not on. You hear it when you turn the AC on. The engine should pick up. Now it's settled again.
Yep.
What's the TikTok? You're not a man unless you throw your back out or whatever it is.
I've never seen that one. Please don't. Okay, but don't throw your back out for real. Your toes.
Who needs a gym?
Oh my gosh. I guess this kind of shows what's about to happen next.
Bed's going back on, at least temporarily, till we probably take it off later. But it's going back on for now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm only saying that because I feel like I'm probably going to take it off again at some point. But
I feel like this is going to be very difficult.
We kind of need it at the moment. So
we need a truck again.
Let's get it back on. Nice, don't it? Mm-hmm. The rear looks much more lifted.
Yeah, why is that?
Because the springs aren't saggy.
Oh.
They're normal ride height now. But we're going to lift the front up to level the whole body. So front and back are going to look that big.
Gotcha.
It's going to be nice.
Yeah. There's room for like way bigger tires.
Yep. Turn on the headlights and walk back here. Is this light on? light's off. Come back and check again. It's off. Okay. Alright, here goes nothing. The first ever drive, not first ever I guess, but the first drive since it's been back together. And we're hitting the road. I'm gonna go get some gas for the other fuel tank and see how it goes. Everything should be hooked up, everything should be working, so hopefully I have no issues.
This is our exhaust tip, and when we first got this in the mail, it's a little big, but it might not be so big when it gets put up next to the truck. So when Dylan gets it back, I want to plain all the time. When he gets back, I want to put this up to the truck and see if it's actually as ridiculous as we think it is. I mean, it's literally the size of my head.
Just put about half a tank in the rear now, so we'll get to be able to try out the whole system. So let's get this thing started, see if it starts and runs, and then see if the fuel gauge works. That's the front tank. Switching to the rear, and yeah, it's still at about half a tank. So let's try to start it up. Starts right up. Yeah. All right, let's get back home and check for leaks.
How'd it go?
Surprisingly well, actually. I went to pull out of the driveway and it felt like the transmission slipped.
Stop.
And I realized it was when I pressed the gas, it spun the back tires on the dirt. And I was like, wow, it's got some power. It's got a little bit more power than before. Like, I'm serious. Like, I just stepped on the gas, but like the idle power is more than before. Like, you know how before, like on a new car, you let off the brake and you start going, and like let's just say that you could go 10 miles an hour on that. Yeah. Well, in this truck, it was more like 5 miles an hour. Like the idle speed was very low. Now the idle speed's a little bit more normal. So, I don't know what that means. Maybe that's something bad. I really don't know. But regardless, it feels better. Okay. It feels better than before.
Nice.
And it's way, way louder than I was expecting. I don't know if you heard me when I pulled out, but like
I probably thought it was a different truck.
It's a little louder than I actually would like, to be honest.
I have something we should do.
No. We're not putting this on.
Let's just look.
Okay, look. This was a mistake.
I already just talked about it.
Okay. Yeah. This is. You can go ahead and have your, what do you call it? Your secondhand embarrassment for us. Look at this thing. This is ridiculous.
Look, I held it next to my head. Just.
I mean, I get it. We're in Alabama. It fits the part, but no, not happening.
Let's just look.
Absolutely. No.
Let's just look.
No.
That's what we said we would do.
No, we are putting this back in the box, not even acting like it's an option. It looks so much better without whatever the hell this is.
Let's just look. I mean, it probably is going to look ridiculous, but let's just look. Just so we know we can get rid of it if it's like horrendous. It doesn't look as big as when you're holding it.
Oh my gosh, get that off my truck. Just to make you feel better, the exhaust tip is already boxed up. It's already got the return label printed, and we are going to get that back to where it belongs. Okay? So that's going to wrap up this week's video, but I wanted to share before we leave sort of some of the stuff that's to come. So if you're interested, you can subscribe, and this stuff will be coming back to the channel. It's just we have to take a short break to finish up a few projects that have some other deadlines, and then we'll be back to this. So currently what's done is basically the rear end mechanically. We still have some stuff mechanically on the front, so we're going to do new suspension on the front, some bushings, some things like that. And then on the engine, we are going to do a little bit more refresh to the engine, but nothing major, and give that whole engine bay a nice cleanup. And then the big to-do list, which is very daunting, and to be honest, I'm kind of glad I'm getting a little bit of a buffer here in this project so that I can wrap my head around it, is the body of this thing. So first and foremost, the truck bed is going to get truck bed liner applied. We're going to be doing that ourselves, which ought to be interesting. And then the entire body is going to get a new coat of paint. But also, like, if you look here, it's worse on the other side, but we got some rust pockets here, so that's going to have to be taken care of. We already have a custom color that matches this color. We've already got that made. We also have a missing trim panel here on the rear end, which we found one on Facebook Marketplace, believe it or not, of an old tailgate. So we have that, but we need to polish it up and get it put on there. Lots of dents and dings and faded paint on the roof and stuff, so a lot of prep work, a lot of stuff to come on actually doing the body of this truck and quote-unquote completing it. And we're even talking about getting new tires for it. These tires are brand new, believe it or not. They were brand new when we got them, so they're only about 18 months old or so, but we're considering upgrading. If anyone has any suggestions for that, I know nothing about tires. So,
or where to get them too.
Yeah, or where to get them. From what I have read online, the size, the biggest reasonable size that we can put on here is a 31 11.5 R15, I think. It might be 10.5 or 11.5. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's kind of the rough, mostly, more or less the biggest size we can put on there. So if you have any suggestions for a tire in a similar size, brand, whatnot, where to get it, please let us know in the comment section below. It's a big expense, and I want to do it right the first time if we end up doing it. Well, guys, you're going to see the truck probably in a couple other videos, because we actually have to use it to do the rest of our jobs. But thank you very much for following along with this series. Again, it is not over. It will come back. Keep bugging us in the comment sections about it so that we get back to it sooner than later. And yeah, thank you a lot for all the comments, all the support. This whole series has gotten less traffic than general for our channel, but it has been a lot of fun because a lot of you are very passionate about this and have really enjoyed seeing the content. So we very much appreciate everyone who's been watching and commenting and just been a part of the series. With that said, we're going to wrap this video up. And if you're new to the channel, check out some woodworking stuff. You might actually enjoy it if you're a car guy. So that's it. Got anything else I need to say? All good?
That's it.
All right. See y'all later.
Come here. Come here. Hey. If you follow our Instagram, you know for the past few days that we have kind of temporarily adopted this cat. He just kind of walked up to our house and welcomed himself inside. So
y'all remember our last shop cat? Well, she's still at our prior shop.
yeah.
My parents basically were forced to adopt her since she lived there, and now
we have another one.
We have another one.
So follow us on Instagram if you want to keep up with that, because we need a name.
Just came out of the woods the other night.
Because we're temporarily adopting him for sure.
Yeah, literally came out of the woods the other night, walked up to our door, meowed. We opened the door and he just walked in.
Literally welcomed himself inside.
Yeah.
So every night for the past few nights, he just comes in, lays on our bed, doesn't really chill out because he's very hyper.
What's up? Also, he's never been around here in the daytime, so he's clearly warming up to us.
Yeah. Today's the first day he's been here this early.
What's up? Talk to me. Meow. Meow. Looks like a panther.
Oh. Okay.
Alright, comment down below. What's his name gonna be?
Look at him. Looks like a panther.
Yeah, looks like a Black Panther.
But he is lovable.